Okay folks, a little bit of a delay, so it's actually closer to about 70 hours or so, but recommendation is 48 to 72 hours. Actually, scratch that, more like 65 hours or so since I did grout. And what I did is because I finished tiling the bottom, it got a little dusty. So what I actually did is I shop vac the floor once again, light damp sponge, wiped it all down. Here in Colorado, everything dries super fast. Let it fully dry, the grout lines, and then I used this sealer right here, which I found the easiest. This is Miracle Sealants Company. I'll link it in the description box below if they sell it on Amazon. If not, Lowe's has this. I'm gonna have to pick up another one for the walls. I got about half left for the ground. Now, keep this in mind. If you have a fan, turn your fan on, open up the door, get some ventilation in here and wear gloves, and then use some of your shop rags for cleanup. The easiest thing that I found is when I first started back there in the corner, according to the directions, it says wipe up in 3 to 5 minutes. But I found the longer I waited, I actually had to buff out some of the lines. And I think I actually got a little bit right there for some oddball reason. Was that off the bottle? That might've been off the bottle. So let me go ahead and wipe that off there and then try not to touch it here. So as you can see here, it dries very quickly. So what I actually did is so I didn't have to buff out the line, because what you actually see is this, like, you know, it just looks like dry mineral water on the edges there. And with this actually has a little brush right on the end. And if you keep tipping it back and forth, it'll really come out. So do be careful with that. And then literally just brush the lines. And of course, some will get excess. And I'll show you the example in the second round. But then what I actually found is I took it in about 5 different sections. And then right after I was done with that section, I immediately went back with a clean rag and just started buffing it, right? But I'm not like getting in the grooves, I'm just getting the top of the tile. And so the grout lines stay nice and moist. As you can see, it is drying here and here. This is already dried here. And that was able to clean up the excess sealer a lot better than letting it dry, evaporate, and then going back and buffing out the line. That's just nonsense to me. I'll be doing 2 coats. Directions say to wait 30 minutes and do your second. I'm actually gonna go to pickleball, let this vent out for a little bit because my dog's gonna be in here. I'm not concerned about waiting a few hours instead of 30 minutes for the second coat, but directions do state within 30 minutes you can apply a second coat. But it doesn't say anything about like you have to wait this certain amount of time, but within 30 minutes of the first coat, you can do your second. If I had time, I would definitely do it, but I'm gonna go play pickleball. And again, like I said, let it air out here and then open the door back up. Highly recommend this grout sealer, and we'll show you examples of how I do it. Pretty simple, hexagon tiles, definitely more work. These tiles back here, just straight big lines, super simple. I also wore my 3M mask, eye protection, and I did use latex gloves as well. And of course, open ventilation as my puppy's right outside, making sure your pets are not around to smell that or lick that. So here you'll notice that I'm just literally just putting it right in the grout line here, just tracing around the hexagon tiles. And because there is a brush on the end of it, it just goes right in. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, if you rock it back and forth, more liquid will come through the brush. So do be careful. You don't want to oversaturate it, but you don't want to get too little amount in there as well. So just kind of go off my example is what I'm doing right here. Obviously it's going on the sides, edges of the tile, but that's okay because I'm going to show you how to buff that out and do it quickly. So it's just a little bit less work on your end. So I'm taking a lint-free towel right here, paper towel, shop towel, lint-free, and I'm going over it in a circular motion like you're waxing a car. I'm not going into the grout lines. I'm just literally putting my palm on the top of it and going around, and what that's going to do is that's going to dry and remove all the excess on the tile edges and on the top, but I'm not going into the grout line once again. So the towel is not going into the grout line. Flip it around to the clean section or more of a dry section, and then start back up again like this. Obviously you will see a little bit of dampness, but it will dry pretty quick, depends on your area and how moist your home is or cold your home is. But here in Colorado, it dries out super fast. As you can see, it already drying in the top area where I first started. So just again, do it on the top, not in the grout lines.
We're going to do 2 coats with this total, 1 and 2 coats. The same method applies, and it looks absolutely fantastic. It's been months since I did this tile, and I'm very pleased with how it looks and how it turned out.
All right, once again, I put it on with the brush, and then I started to dry, not drying in the grout lines, but just taking my hand and going wax on, wax off on the top of the tile, because remember the tile is beveled a little bit on the edge, meaning the grout is dipped down below the surface. And so by smoothly rotating your cloth, flipping it over, if it gets too saturated, go get a dry one and redo it. And again, I took that in about 5 different sections, 5 different rags, folded in half, and turned out just beautifully for 2 coats total. That is absolutely fantastic. As you can see here, if you haven't already noticed, in the corners is not a pretty bead, but it is waterproof silicone. I will have baseboards covering that up. I did that underneath that, but the tiles over there, so you can't really see that caulk line. And then I'm gonna re-caulk these tiles, so we're gonna have a caulk on this outer side, and then a bead of caulk against the edge of the flooring tile, so it's gonna be really nice and waterproof. So we're looking absolutely fantastic there. So ladies and gentlemen, that is how you grout and seal and edge caulk your flooring. Definitely subscribe to the channel, because next up we will be, of course, grouting the walls, sealing the walls, putting our freestanding tub in here, toilet, vanity, mirror, some slat wall trimming. It's going to be fantastic. You're not going to want to miss the wrap up of this master bathroom. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that thumbs up button if you wouldn't mind on your way out. Helps the channel and the YouTube algorithm. Also subscribe if you like videos like this. Also look in the description box below once again for the tools and products that I used for this bathroom. We'll see you on the next one.